Alright guys, so I had some audio issues, so we're changing it up a little bit today. Notice the headset. But we're going to go ahead and take that last video from the top and go over this. So for those of you living under a rock, Ukraine is actively being invaded by Russia. Russia is attacking indiscriminately. Men, women, children. This is not just military targets. This is also infrastructure and civilians. There's a lot of video, a lot of articles out there right now if you're curious to know more about what's going on. But just so you're aware, this is the active situation that we're seeing unfold. So before we get too deep into the video, I think it's fair to point out, as others have, 2 out of the last 3 administrations here in the U.S., us being the major player in the world, us being the main deterrent to Russia. You've had Russia doing this kind of thing. You had Crimea back under Obama, and now you're seeing the current situation unfold. I find it extremely interesting that under the Russian puppet administration, that Russia was pretty well behaved along with China. But anyway, you have this current situation going on. As far as responses go, the U.S. should not put a single pair of boots on the ground. I have a really hard time saying we should deploy the military under a situation that I would not be willing to go lay my life down. Ukraine is not a NATO member. We had opportunities over the last 30 years to make Ukraine a NATO member, and we chose not to do so for a multitude of reasons. So, given those points that I just listed, like I said, there should be absolutely no boots on the ground. Now, what we do have the ability to do is, between the European countries and between the U.S., with as much monetary and economic power that we have, we could effectively bring the Russian economy to its knees. Now, what you don't understand, or a lot of people don't understand, is that Russia is very weak economically. It's a very fragile economy. It's not the Soviet Union and the collapse that it once was, but they are still very fragile. They do not have the capability to support a long drawn-out conflict. That's actually one of the discouraging factors why you haven't seen Russia step out of line more than what they have. They just don't have the capability to. They don't have the funding of China. They don't have the funding of the U.S. They can't sustain themselves the way that most of these other European countries can. But now, one reason why that's important is, under Biden, you've seen imports through Russia and less reliance on energy that we produce ourselves. You've also seen certain European countries, like Germany, who have massive energy contracts now with Russia. How this makes any sense whatsoever is beyond me. All you're doing is strengthening a Russian economy that wants to effectively have their way with the region. So this is all very counterproductive. I don't know what Merkel's thinking. I don't know what Biden's thinking. I guess, to give Biden a little bit of credit, he is reimposing some of the sanctions that he removed. But keep in mind, he removed those sanctions in the first place. And it's also fair to note that he's been very picky-choosy with what sanctions he is putting back in place and what sectors of energy in particular he is attacking. So, and then to boot, Biden is continuing, just within the last day or two, to stop more leases for more American energy. Like I said, this is all counterproductive. This isn't helping us, and we're just emboldening our enemies. This makes no sense whatsoever. But now, the reason that you really need to pay attention to what's going on is because stuff like this starts to snowball. This right here, again, we should not put boots on the ground, because you cannot have 2 nuclear powers going toe-to-toe with each other over this situation. Again, they're not a NATO member. You support from afar. But what this could turn into And what I think this is going to turn into at some point is you already have you already have China coming out saying that they need to throw as much support behind Russia as they possibly can. And their reasoning for this is because they need Russian support when they decide to implement their Taiwan solution. For those of you who do not know, Taiwan is a leading creator of chips for the entire world. If you see China enter into Taiwan, you will see a global conflict and you will see nuclear powers going head to head with each other. Russia will get pulled in. Iran and North Korea will very well get pulled in. And then you will have a World War III style of those four countries versus whatever European and American countries decide to throw their hat in the ring. Again, this will be World War III if this happens. That is the part that you need to pay attention to. Another possible scenario, I don't see this happening, but it is possible. During World War II, you saw Germany start to invade other countries, and they said, oh no, we're just interested in this. After this, we're done. And then they kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. And then next thing you know, Germany was at the doorstep of these European countries, and we had a large decision to be made, and our hand was forced into World War II. We got drawn into that conflict later, obviously. But like I said, that's why you really need to pay attention to what's going on right now, because I believe this is just the beginning. You're going to see more. You're going to see this situation get worse. Yeah, you need to be ready, guys, because this whole thing is going to get really hairy. And if you think it's sickening what's going on in Ukraine right now, give it a little bit of time, because I think we're going to see this in the near future. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to see it in 6 months. That doesn't mean that we're going to see it in a year. But this, like I said, this is all the snowball for the inevitable of what is coming. And we are going to find ourselves head to head with nuclear powers. And I really hope that it doesn't happen under this administration, because I have about zero faith in this current administration to handle it correctly. And I really hope in 2024 we can get some stronger leadership in there. Whether it be Trump again, whether it be DeSantis, Rand Paul, we've got a couple good choices out there for to lead the country. But yeah, guys, like I said, things are getting scary. You need to pay attention. It's not a bad idea to have some food on hand. You're going to see your energy prices go up even more because of the extra foreign energy that we're importing. If you're in the middle class, brace yourself, guys, because this is going to hurt. And it's not just going to hurt your wallet. Could make some families really hurt in the end. Because there's going to be some serious lives lost in this. Thanks, guys.